Leader Eric Cantor lost to Tea Party favorite David Brat. It's the only time a majority leader, the second most powerful member of the House, has been defeated in a primary. Joining us now to discuss the power struggle to replace Cantor and where the GOP goes from here, from Atlanta, Congressman and Tea Party advocate Tom Price. And from New York, the man in charge of electing Republicans to the House this November, Congressman Greg Walden. Gentlemen, let's start with the election this coming Thursday to replace Eric Cantor with a new House Majority Leader. Right now, it's a race between House Whip Kevin McCarthy, whose record, if anything, is more moderate than Cantor, versus the more conservative Raul Labrador. Congressman Price, McCarthy is a big favorite to win on Thursday, which raises the question, if the Tea Party was powerful enough to knock Cantor off, why does it lack the power to name his successor?
Well, the length of time of this campaign, the election that will be held for the majority leader in the House of Representatives, is just a week long. So it tends to favor those individuals that have the apparatus in place, and therefore I think it tends to favor Kevin McCarthy. But that doesn't mean that the conservative wing, the Tea Party group within the House of Representatives, has lost any of its muster at all. Remember, who supports the Tea Party? It's folks who are interested in limited government, in lower taxes, in greater fiscal responsibility, in individual liberty. We need to make certain that smart politics doesn't replace losing those principles, and losing those principles doesn't mean that you can't gain gains step by step by step. So that, I believe, incorporates all of the House Republican Conference. So I think the division that has been cited is exaggerated.
Well, there certainly was a fight, and one of the ways in which David Brat beat Eric Cantor was arguing that he was too much a member of the establishment and Brat represented the grassroots and the Tea Party. Given that, Congressman Walden, are House Republicans making a mistake ignoring the Tea Party when they choose a replacement for Cantor?
Yeah, no, look, Kevin McCarthy's done a great job as whip. He has a lot of friends across the spectrum of the conference, and I think he will end up winning this in a pretty solid way. But he and Raul have to fight it out. I'll tell you, though, that what I take out of this election in Virginia is this, that there is enormous energy at the grassroots conservative base of the Republican Party, and they're upset about Washington. They're really upset about Barack Obama and his policies, and the last thing they want is Nancy Pelosi back as Speaker. And I think Democrats and others who try to read too much into this that isn't there are making a big mistake that will be fatal for them in the fall. I've talked to David Brat. He's more a Reagan Republican than anything else. We need everybody together to go beat Democrats so that we don't give Barack Obama a rubber stamp in the next cycle.
All right. I mean, I understand you're both loyal Republicans. You don't want to emphasize the split. But, gentlemen, there is a split, because assuming McCarthy wins, then there's going to be a battle to replace him in the number 3 position as the whip in the House. The candidates, the relatively moderate Peter Roskam, and 2 Tea Party advocates, more conservative, the split, Steve Scalise and Marlin Stutzman. Congressman Price, what if Roskam wins and you still don't have a hard right grassroots conservative in the leadership, and especially you don't have one from a true red state?
Well, look, there are divisions, there are differences within our party, but there's a whole lot more that holds us together. I think Greg Walden is absolutely right. I've been throughout multiple districts in this state over this past weekend, and what folks are upset about are the way that the president's handling the border security and the human tragedy down on the border, the way he handled Bergdahl, trading them for the Taliban 5, the way that his IRS has targeted citizens in this country.
Forgive me, Congressman, because I know your differences. I know your differences, but there is a split in the party, and I'm asking you, what if, once again, you still don't have, because I know there was a great ferment among your faction inside the House, that you don't have somebody from the South, you don't have a hard right Tea Party conservative in the leadership. What if at the end of this week you still don't?
Well, you got to let this play out. And I think this is a real race for majority whip between Marlin Stutzman and Steve Scalise and Peter Roskam. I don't know that the field is set. I think that there may be others that might get in that race. But this is a dynamic. And these things are cyclic, and they occur, and it's for the individual members of the conference to decide, best representing their constituencies, and we'll work through this. Again, the challenge that we have as a country is to get us back on track, and it's the president's policies that all of us in the House Republican Conference understand are not moving this nation in the right direction.
One of the big issues in the Cantor primary, gentlemen, was immigration. And David Bratt, the Tea Party advocate who ended up winning, said that Cantor's support of a modified DREAM Act, which would have provided some path to legalization for some of the young people who are brought here illegally as children, he said that was amnesty. Congressman Walden, as the man, as we say, in charge of getting more Republicans elected to the House this year, do you worry about the Hispanic vote and that the Republican Party will really offer nothing to Hispanics as you head into this election?
Well, first of all, I think, again, you have to go back and do a real analysis of what happened in that race and what didn't happen in that race. There are lots of people ascribing lots of reasons for why Eric Cantor lost that I don't think have done the research to figure out how much that issue,
you don't think that immigration and David Bratt...
I think it played a role, Chris.
Excuse me, sir. You don't think that immigration and David Bratt saying that it was amnesty was an issue in that campaign?
I didn't say that. I said I think it played a role. But again, there were a lot of other issues in this race as well. Voter turnout, what kind of campaign was run, all of these things.
But I'm asking you about this and whether or not
right?
the Republican Party is in danger of alienating Hispanic voters, and you'll pay a price for it at the ballot box.
Well, I think there are a couple of issues here. First of all, you'll find Republicans believe we got to get border security in place before we do anything else. Second, it's hard to have a discussion with the President of the United States on this issue when he keeps waiving existing laws. How do we know he'll enforce something that we do go forward on? And so that causes a lot of distrust at the grassroots level and in the Congress, frankly. If you look at all the laws he's waived, parts of laws he doesn't like, so that makes it difficult. And frankly, Hispanic voters care a lot about jobs in the economy, just like the rest of us do. And so there are lots of other issues besides immigration that we need to appeal on as well, and I think we will.
Having said all that, Mitt Romney, back in 2012, lost to Barack Obama by 44 points among Hispanic voters. Congressman Price, don't you have to do something to appeal more? And immigration is certainly part of the equation and one of the things that Hispanics care about. Don't you have to do something if you're to avoid getting in real trouble at the ballot box in 2014 and especially in 2016?
Well, there's no doubt about it that our immigration system is broken, but I have come to believe that it's the president who is the largest opponent to immigration reform. In 2011, what he said is that the border...
It was Mitt Romney who lost among Hispanics, sir.
That doesn't negate the fact that it was President Obama in 2011 who said the border is secure. The American people understand and appreciate, given the events over the past couple of weeks, that the president was being deceitful with the American people on this. There's a human tragedy going on the southern border right now, and the president's doing nothing. What did he do this weekend to correct that? He went and gave a hyper-partisan commencement speech and then went and played golf. That's the frustration that my constituents have and the American people have. This is a president who is disengaged on solving this challenge of immigration. And we look forward to working with the president, but how can you work with somebody that the American people don't trust on this issue, and we can't trust on this issue because we know that he hasn't enforced the law of the land already?
Finally, Eric Cantor, I don't think anybody would doubt, was a pretty conservative member of Congress. In fact, he was seen as the member of leadership who was most open to listening and dealing with the concerns of the Tea Party faction inside Congress. Congressman Walden, Democrats say if Eric Cantor is too moderate for the Republican Party, that just shows that the Republican Party is outside the mainstream. How are you going to deal with that argument in November?
Chris, again, I want to get back to people are making all kinds of claims about what happened or didn't happen in this primary without actually realizing what the facts were on the ground. Every race is individualized, every race is specific, and every race is local. And you better do the research to figure out what really happened in this race before you draw these conclusions. And Democrats are trying to spin this every way they can at their peril, because what you have is conservatives at the grassroots level who are fired up like they were in 2010, and it's going to play out in the fall, and it's not going to be good for the Democrats.
Congressman Walden, Congressman Price, we want to thank you both so much for coming in today. Thank you, gentlemen.
You're welcome. Happy Father's Day.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank
Happy
you.
Father's
Same
Day.
to you guys. When we come back, what does Cantor's defeat mean for